right. It is now time for raising funds for world domination, day number 177. So, it's time. Oh, I got a like already. Thank you to whoever immediately liked the stream. So, for the daily update today, so the update on the renovation situation is October 6th was the third N13 merits hearing on the 14th. So just over a week, the LTB tenant board got back to us, and they ruled in our favor, and all of the remaining N13 applications were dismissed. And the LTB sent an email that my case is closed. And then on the 17th, I learned that there is a possibility that the landlord may request some kind of appeal or review, which I'm not quite sure what. They'd have to find like an error of law or an error, like some evidence that was not reviewed correctly or some kind of process issue, but I don't know. I think the in my view, the ruling is pretty solid. And it's like, we spent a tremendous amount of time going over it. So, we'll see. I would not be surprised if it's just like if they submit some kind of grasping at straws appeal or something, and then it just gets denied. But we'll see. Stay tuned on that. RT sends some eyes. How do I make a GPU? That's easy. It's quite similar to making a CPU. First you have to get a rock, then you smash the rock, then you've got 99% concentrated silicon dioxide, or 98% concentrated silicon dioxide. Then you gotta purify it to 99.999999% silicon dioxide. And it's more steps, but it's too much work to go and do now. So on the next front, I've been working on setting up the Shopify store. So I think it was last night I got another physical sale in the store, and so I said before that when things work and when things make money, I just do more of them. So today I worked on I added 2 new products to the store, because it seems like it is getting more conversions lately. I guess, I don't know, it's I don't know, probably the design is a bit better than the one that I had on my site, but I don't know, maybe it's at the threshold where it's actually worth kind of investing more time into. And there's still an outstanding item in the Shopify store for a custom block type. So for $16, you can sponsor the limonite ore. Be sure to do that. Excellent. What could you pay? What could you pay? What could you pay you to do to help grow a business? What could I pay you to help grow a business? I guess assuming, how could I pay? I mean, I have some videos out there on business. I'm working on a marketing video right now. Actually, on that topic, I need to give the update on how much I worked on. So today, I did almost nothing on it. I was going to do more, and then adding the new product types, and I actually did some work on for my. I have a small amount of inventory of the products I have, so I did some more lots of label printing and just kind of errands and stuff that took up a bunch of time. So we'll be conservative, put the scripting at 72%. I think in general, growing a business, like seriously speaking, is it requires being like a domain expert in whatever that area of business is. So my background is in software development, and there's lots of stuff that I know about the field of software development. But if you saw like flooring or something, or do landscaping, a lot of times the secret sauce that determines whether a business succeeds or fails is not always super obvious, and sometimes it has to do with like I think McDonald's was a pretty famous example where, like that, as a restaurant chain, it was so successful because the way they extracted a lot of their money was just by charging high rents to the franchisee owners. So in a way, it kind of ran a bit more like a real estate company than a restaurant. So if you tried to optimize for the best fries and the best food and service and stuff like that, that's not necessarily the success metric. Could just be about knowing real estate better, or like knowing how to do zoning stuff. Mine is like home inspection business. Home inspection. Do you mean like when someone buys a house, they get someone to like inspect the basement and make sure it's code compliant before they buy it? Make sure the basement doesn't have cracks. Mold inspection? Okay. Moriarty says, hi. How's it going? Specialized inspection. Yeah, I guess I'm sure there are people who are very interested in that. Yeah, I mean, mold. Tons of people have, concerns about allergies and stuff that come on from mold, and so I'm sure there's demand out there for that. I guess I don't really I'm sure there's people who want that, but I guess my guess is probably your one of your issues is like on how to get sales and stuff like that. You could think about like for a very specialized thing like that. I would also I'm going to assume you're like extremely qualified. Like, do you have like testing kits and stuff, and the ability to do like laboratory tests on the mold and stuff, or like because I'm sure there's ways you can like swab if you find some like black looking mold. Yeah, so I guess I'm assuming you have all the qualifications, and you're not just like a random guy who watched a YouTube video on how to identify mold or something. I guess my first initial reaction was that you did inspections for stuff like when people buy a house, they look at like whether the foundation's cracked and all kinds of stuff like that. I would say you might be able to think about like when someone buys a house, there's there's likely certain requirements, like for that basement inspection and like code compliance or whatever. I think stuff like that is often either highly recommended or it's mandatory. And if reaching out to real estate agents might actually could be a fruitful thing. And then also you might even get more business if you can expand into like another type of inspection. Like if you can hook into some, like so you can do mold inspection and some other kind of inspection. It's like when someone buys a house, people think that, but real estate agents try to move things along without finding issues sometimes. I guess it depends. It depends which real estate agent it is. If it's a seller, they just want to, they're just like, yep, it looks, everything's perfect. Let's rubber stamp it. But if you're buying things, and I could even see the buyer's real estate agent might just want to like get that commission and stuff. But for certainly someone buying a house would want a good faith inspection done. But yeah, I would say if you can, maybe if you can, I'm not sure what kinds of inspections there are, but if you could branch out and also looking to make a new website that transcends the current way things are done. Make a new website. Your website can do advertising, but Hack Matrix says, "Hello, Robert. Excellent timing. Just closed on my 2 foot 8. I was going to say 2 floor. Yeah, congratulations. 18K. I mean, for 18K, I can't expect a lot, but if it's like a tear down and you can get 1 year out of living in it, then you're already, if you just live there for 1 year and you're already making profit, basically. But yeah, on getting new business, your website is good, although whether it's actually going to help you generate leads, I don't know. Things are competitive. If you live in NYC, cheapest 2 foot would be 100K. Yeah, I'd say if you can hook into like there's got to be some part of the, I don't know, the housing occupancy cycle. Like people buy a house, and there's some inspections, and then like if some other simpler inspection that you can also do, and then when you do that inspection, like something where you just you walk in for 2 minutes and look at something, you inspect the electrical panel, and you're like, yep, this is up to code, and then you're done in like 5 minutes, and it's like a routine thing that people get a lot. And then you say, oh, by the way, I also do the mold inspection stuff. Sorry if I'm hijacking your stream. No worries. I try to answer people's questions. There's no there's no guarantees on anything I say, so just trying to throw back some ideas. Just need the last year so I can get independent income. Live in NYC for free as a homeless. I knew of it. Into robotics factory owned by Alexis. I know Ved into robotics factory owned by Alexis. Oh wait, moved into. Oh, okay. Oh, so you're basically like you got like free rent at work. That's a pretty good deal. I heard of someone like, was it Facebook, making like max salary, and they just lived in a garage and like banked like all their money, and now they're worth $1 million pretty quick. In hindsight, that would have been a better plan, but hindsight's 2020. But I guess if you got an 18K house now, you can. I mean, owning a house is more work, but the great thing is like, even if the house is like crappy and it's falling down, like even if the roof leaks and you have to put a bucket to like catch rainwater, then like you can, it's up to you whether you when and how you want to repair stuff. So that gives you way more cost control. Friend lived in Google's parking lot garage in a van. Yeah, I mean, it's a sign of the times. Seems to be becoming more of a thing. People just live in vehicles. It's made me think like, in the future, that might be a normal thing. Like, when you think about think about the economics of if you just lived in a self-driving vehicle, and then the vehicle would just like, you could have like tons more padding and stuff on it, and then the vehicle can just drive itself to work, and you can or you could like you could just sleep in the back or something, and then the vehicle could just be a taxi going around, a self-driving taxi. Alright, let's check the state of this thing. So last night I was still working on trying to get the scroll bar working a bit better. And I thought about it. I may actually change how a bunch of that works. Home base. Just as long as I camp there. I want to live in a train car that roams the world. That'd be pretty neat. But I don't know. I don't think it'll be as feasible as self-driving vehicles that people live in. Because living in a vehicle is becoming more common. Right, let's go back to the debug menu. Actually, the debug menu I added before. I'm just going back to it because I'm gonna add I'm gonna make some significant changes to how the scroll bar works. Yeah, I don't know. There's lots of ideas to monetize the homeless, but lots of people try, but many are not successful at it. It's just too complex of a problem. Although I do think if we thought about like right now, we think a lot about the demands of businesses and where to find workers that satisfy those businesses. But I think if we thought a bit the other way, like we just thought, you said, like, where are there large concentrations of like unoccupied people who like want to do something useful but don't have any like there's no thing for them to do, that like people that actually have some kind of talent at something, and then figure out how to create a business out of that. How much do you use AI to help write code? Currently, I basically haven't used it at all. It's on my to-do list to sit down and like try one of those. I think Cloud AI was supposedly one of the good ones. But during the day, I haven't been coding that much. I've been working on other things, trying to make videos and explain marketing concepts and Robert is a graybeard. Yeah, I'm getting old. Do you feel like using AI to code is cheating? I don't really feel any kind of intangible. I don't have any ethical obligations to it, or like philosophical, but like from a rigorous business perspective, I do have significant concerns about like what are the copyright implications, and I know there's people who very philosophically, they're very much on the side of saying that AI generated outputs are like it's not, it's different than the original code. But I mean, there's lots of cases where the AI will generate stuff that like it literally includes, like I think there was an early meme with some of the AI generated stuff where it would have like what was it, Shutterstock or something. It would actually generate stuff with the copyright notice, because that's not what it was trained on. And like if you're not just fooling around, if you're doing like a serious business product, you don't want to generate code that like literally has copyright notices from your competitor, and because then like it's a clear admission that you're creating copyright infringement. Also in a business context, I mean, there's way more things to think about. Like, what about data privacy? If you're asking the AI stuff, or even if you're just like letting an AI like ChatGPT, if you're giving ChatGPT access to your company's repo, then you're basically leaking the information from your company into ChatGPT, and then who knows what ChatGPT is doing with it. So those are some of the more practical things I have about using it. And I don't know, it kind of seems like the direction we're going in is we just don't care anymore. Graybeards code better than AI. Chat AI is good though. Yeah, for a lot of stuff, especially stuff like this. Like I have a problem with how the scroll bar works, and I know how to fix it because I know the code. I know where the code is and what it does because I wrote it. But if I had used AI to generate parts of it, then it's very likely that I would have the parts that AI added and did for me, I wouldn't remember them because I literally didn't write them. And that would make it like to know what to fix, I have to have a holistic understanding of what is actually in the code. So that makes it more difficult. I do think there are some there likely to be some really kind of killer use cases for it though. Wonder what a world might look like when people need to ask AI questions for every thought. Yeah, we might be heading there. The next generation of iPad kids. iPad kids today are going to be tame in the future. Kids won't be able to do anything without a computer or an iPad. E says, hello, Robert Elder Software. Hello, folks. How is anyone doing? I'm doing well. Local LLM all the way. Yeah, I think that'll become common, likely. Makes sense to care about the practical matters. Yeah, for the business, like this, there's certain requirements, like the IP requirements for business are going to be like extremely important and non-negotiable, and also like secrecy and stuff. Especially when you have access to like data, like customer data and stuff. You can't be like taking customer data and pushing it into ChatGPT. But probably a lot of companies will. A lot of just noob employees. Like there's these I think it's agent mode or something. I wouldn't be surprised if that's happening all over the place. You just have like one really stupid employee that'll like turn on, like use some weird AI tool, and then they turn on like some kind of root access AI thing, thinking it's gonna fix everything, and then it just like it vacuums up. It's basically like allowing remote. It's basically like allowing a hacker to just steal all your data. That's kind of what AI is going to do, or is capable of. New stream idea, vocal only chat, but GPT 4.0. That model is crazy good at realistic convo. There are some I think pretty big streamers that are just AI. So the whole painting robot stack, it's just an iPad and cloud code. Nice. Okay. Does anyone here use SE Linux? I have used it a couple times. I learned enough about it to make those couple videos I did on SE Linux. Started with type enforcement, wrote a couple of bash functions to help streamline policy creation, but I still don't really understand it well. My understanding, when I messed around with it, I found there's a few commands that I cycled back and forth on using. There was one where I could like if I ran something and then it violated a policy, what I could do is there was a command I could run to like generate the statements that would add that permission. In terms of like handwriting policies and stuff, I didn't really do that. But it has like a more granular, and my understanding is if you're using SE Linux, it's basically just an additional set of constraints. So like you can still like regular permissions, user group and other and stuff like that still operate, but it's just an additional set of enforcements that are more granular. So you can do like, you can disallow permission to like load a shared library and some things. Found out about I notify wait. I'm not familiar with that. Don't really understand what any of it means. Yeah, I think it's SE Linux. I think it's pretty. It can get pretty complicated. Like I watched a few talks, like hour-long talks on it, and there's even like, what was it? There was like a what is it called? The label. There was like one of those for the range. I think it was. You can specify ranges, and that gets like super advanced, which. Yeah, I can't even say anything about it. I don't know it. I notify wait can monitor for file changes. So my script checks my system D-unit files for changes and runs daemon reload on change. Oh, that's useful. Actually, that could be useful for a lot of stuff. So I think I'll do some major refactoring on this instead of the item of the index of the list item. I'm gonna have the column offset, and then that'll be what I maintain. That sounds pretty neat. It's like a dream job for a lot of people. It's gonna be quite a bit of work, actually. It was a literal dream job. I had a lucid dream where I contacted aliens on the day of my interview. Yeah, I don't know, can you work remote at your new place? If you could live in that 18K house, work remote at Amazon, bank some cash. High level meditator, psychic powers. AWS doesn't do remote anymore. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I guess the trend is to lock down everyone, bring them in. I'm here to break the psychosis. Yeah, let's not do any psychosis. All right, let's just fix this menu. Steve Jobs gave everyone his funeral, the book Autobiography of a Yogi, which describes the magical power of yoga and meditation. I tried to meditate a couple times, but I found it didn't really do anything for me. I found out yesterday that FZF can be used for fish-like history, search and bash. Probably uninstall fish soon. Meditate and do yoga and you see portals. This conversation is not for me. When I close my eyes, I see code. I see Java code for a terminal block mining game. Cakes went straight to my thighs. Yep, that's where it goes. I've never played that game, but have you guys ever seen there's a speed run? This like famous speed run some guy did, where he beat one of the Portal games in like, I don't know, I can't remember how long it was, but it was a ridiculously short amount of time using all these glitches and stuff. And in the video it describes how he did it, and he just casually mentions all these like weird techniques like accelerated back hopping, as if it's just some, standard thing everyone does and knows about. See the N64 clone of Portal? that a YouTube creator was working on. No, I didn't. It's kind of amazing how someone like apparently rewrote one of the Mario games. I forget which one. It was the really popular one. It's like a 3D Mario. And they rewrote it to make it like the whole game, to make it much faster. Super Mario 64. Yeah, I think that's what it was. I don't know them as well as other people. I guess that one wasn't really my childhood game. I'm a bit older than that. Well, I guess I did play quite a bit of Nintendo 64. GoldenEye. Hardest game I've ever seen is Battletoads. I think I've heard of that, but I don't even know what it is. People troll GameStop by calling. As for the game, Battletoads looks really hard. Watch World Record speedrun. Oh, so was that like a fake game or something that doesn't exist? People will call up and ask for it? Carl Jung with Wolfgang Pauli on synchronicities. I haven't heard of any of those things. Maybe I'll Google it if I get time. It was real, just a random game most people never played or would care to play. Probably a bunch of them that would go out and stock it. So they'd say, hey, everyone's calling about this game. And then they'd put it in stock. Also found out about Bash's -E existence check. Using to check if files existed. Never again. It doesn't work well. If they did stock Battletoads, wouldn't have been the last time GameStop made money on an internet meme. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was kind of an amusing saga where it went to $300 or something. I go into GameStop and ask where the PC gaming section is. Is that a... I assume that would have been a thing at one time, but that probably doesn't exist anymore. I haven't been in a GameStop or bought a game in many, many years. How long ago did GameStop stop selling PC games? And because I think they used to sell CDs, and then it was DVDs, and then I think they started doing like a thing where you go there and you just buy a box, and the box has like a code in it or something, where you download it. I assume that probably hasn't been a thing for quite a while now. I honestly, I don't even know when that transition happened. Professional engineer told me he never had to solve a single calculus problem in the real world. Is this true? Depends what kind of engineer he is and where, what kind of work he does. If you're like, if you do like work on finite element analysis or something, like as most software engineers will never need to solve calculus problems. But if you get a job as like doing finite element analysis or something, you might do it like every single day. Robert, what do you do after your streams? Usually just take a bit of a break, and then it's time for bed not too long after. Depends on domain. Use calculus to calibrate performance tests across many runs. AI definitely uses calculus for back propagation. Yeah, that's definitely true. I used actually that was how I learned calculus. Or I learned some rules in calculus. I was studying. This is before I went to university. I was trying to figure out how back propagation worked before I knew the calculus, and then I had to like study the calculus. So confused. He designed engines. I thought that would be so much calculus. Yeah, I would assume also designing engines would require some calculus. I don't know. I guess at this point it's probably a lot of it's probably distilled down to formulas. Late 2010s. So I guess technically like, 2008, 2019. I guess that's not that crazily long ago. That's in the pre-COVID era, which was basically yesterday. Yeah, there probably is quite a bit of design software that does all that stuff automatically for you. I guess he would probably be in a position like doing that type of work. He's probably in a position where he's readily able to solve the calculus problems. Because I'd imagine the type of design software you use for designing engines, like it probably has, it's probably like drop-down menus and stuff to like configure like, harmonic oscillation dampening and tuned mass damper systems and like stuff that basically effectively like references calculus or physics concepts. And if you don't know them, then you won't be able to even use the software. Designed robotic microscopes. Neat. Okay, so the lower bound is going to be should we add height to those functions? Function name. They don't really describe what is bounded. This is the bound of what is being rendered. So I'm rendering over a certain number of items in the list. So as I scroll down it'd be like, between item 6 and item 10, and then I scroll down, it shows item 20 to 25. Yeah, and index bound. I'm kind of refactoring everything in a big way at the moment. So I may even still change it around. I love refactoring. When it's done, it's a good state, but sometimes when the best refactoring is when you can like refactor one line at a time and then like run all your unit tests and make sure it's working. The worst is when you have to do a large number of breaking changes. You get like way down in the depths, and then you start to make things work again, and you realize that it's totally broken. Robert, you should change the stream to have people subscribe before commenting, and stream less trolls, more subscribers. That would be an interesting. That's a good idea. That might get more people on, because it's only 99 cents. Do you get a lot of trolls? I would say no. It's not too bad. There was I think like a couple raids or something where I get like a ton of random. I would say I get less now. I think around day 100 or something they tried a bit and they didn't get what they were looking for. YouTube forces people to subscribe for 5 minutes before commenting on stream. Oh, does it already do that? So everyone commenting is forced to be subscribed? I didn't know that. I guess that's kind of good. It's a pretty low barrier to entry. I think subscribe is different to member. Yeah, it is, but I think what he might be saying is like already, like without, because I can change it. In fact, I might even be able to change it right now. So it's probably just in the drop down, or I can change it so you can only comment if you're a member. But even without that, it's there. I would not be surprised if it forces you to subscribe before even commenting, because if that was not true, then you could have random people come in and like spam the stream who are not even interested. What is the temperature? The temperature is 1. Thank you for asking. Temperature does have some software engineering context. AI stochastic programming. Yeah, I guess the concept, the phrase temperature is used in a lot of other analogous ways, like to describe entropy for like annealing systems and stuff. Random question, can you burp? I'm hearing the typical girl sound that is associated with inability to burp. I do have, I feel like random gas and stuff. I don't know what you. I think I went to the doctor and they called it esophageal dysmotility or something, which I guess just means like, I don't know, when, I have a bit of like acid reflux and stuff like that, but I try to not create too many unpleasant noises on the stream. Should you burp? It depends. I mean, if I drank a bunch of pop, I will. Depends how gassy the food I eat is. Literally couldn't. Seriously affected life. Doctors misdiagnosed constantly. Yeah, that's a theme. Where did diagnosed surgeon said that's where most people get diagnosed. GPUs running data centers will be the domino effect that tips off the next ice age if we don't run out of water before that. I don't know, but the next ice age will probably have a financial collapse before that happens. Is every function spammed with has vertical operation? Yes, okay. Not every function. There's, well, actually, it used to be even worse. So there's, I actually, like the actual rendering, I had so many of those has vertical orientation. I had so many of those that the rendering is split out into render horizontal and render vertical, even though they're kind of pretty similar. Seems like a good use case for polymorphism. Yeah, there's endless better ways to do it, but I'm going for something that's hopefully simple that I can just get done as fast as possible. But I keep running into corner cases that just means the underlying model has to be more complicated than I first thought. Once I have an implementation that works, I could refactor it to be simpler. It's broken. Vertical orientation means that it's rendering the list from the top down. Because I have to have a way to. I'm gonna have lists where I can like scroll down in the list, and then but also go from this side from left to right. Like on the inventory menu will probably be by default it'll be underneath, and then go from left to right. And then like the crafting menu, I'll probably make that like a top to bottom menu. That way it's vertical. And then also you can, if you change them at runtime, it'll just use the right one. So this here is the list in the vertical orientation. So it goes like 0, 1, 2, and then that kind of I made it generic, so if you can basically have like adjacent columns. But for the crafting recipe, it'll just be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it'll there won't be four columns, so it'll just be one. And then if I go change this split type to, it doesn't even render. But anyway, in this orientation, so go item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then I can scroll from side to side. So this is the horizontal orientation, and that when it's on the side, that's the vertical orientation. It's selected as find, but used after six lines in only one branch of if. Okay. Is selected. I forget what that variable is even used for. I'm in the middle of refactoring this, so there's a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't make any sense. Wrapping is a little weird. I would expect the wrap to be +1, not as tight. The +1 is for the space in between them. You're talking about this wrapping here. So this, so it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's, I think, 95 items in this list. So and then it goes off the page. 11. I think it goes down to like, I don't know. Well, 20. It would go down to 23, and then it comes back up to 20, 24, 5, 6. That was just the easiest way to implement it. Oh, interesting. Goes from 11 to 24. That's because a bunch of the items are not on the screen. Once I had the scrolling working, but I decided to refactor this because a bunch of issues with the scroll bar, and I think there's going to be other. I may actually. There's even some use cases I would have for making it so you can scroll in both directions too. And I may eventually add that, so I thought I might as well just refactor it so it's a bit more. So it just uses, instead of going by, for rendering it, instead of going by the offset of the list, it would go by the offset of the column, the screen column. Because that would also make it easier to support like partially scrolling over an item. Actually, this might be what I want. Nope, still not doing it. Oh, it is. Oh, it's just an off by one error. Right, that looks better. I just need to fix the adjustment on the end. Because I'm basically like redoing the work I did over the last week. But this model should work a bit better. Well, I'll probably leave it there for tonight. That's a good place to leave off. And then I just need to make the same refactoring updates to the other, like the up and, I guess, sideways. Right to left works, that's easy. I just need to implement up. And I'll get it working in the horizontal orientation as well. All right, have a good night, guys.